Hi, this is Alonzo Bodden. I want to welcome you to episode 307 of my podcast, Who's Paying Attention? This week's podcast is brought to you by Caliper CBD. That's right, we've all heard of CBD, and there are different benefits to different people, and you've heard this and that. Listen, I like CBD. It is relaxing. Um, it seems my little aches and pains are gone. You work out. Listen, I'm not as young as I used to be. No one is, except LeBron James and Tom Brady, which we'll talk about later. But anyway, I get aches and pains, sore knees, this or that. I like the CBD. The great thing about Caliper CBD is it is a powder you mix with any liquid, water, juice, or whatever, and you drink it. Okay. No oils, no tinctures, none of that stuff that you have to put under your tongue. No taste, no oily residue, none of that. Comes precisely measured. Each packet contains 20 milligrams of CBD. You don't have to worry about how much you're taking. Um, it's clinically proven that you absorb 450% more CBD with Caliper CBD powder compared to tinctures. That's crazy. 450%. In other words, you're taking it and you actually get it. It takes about 15 minutes. You get the benefits. That's twice as fast as CBD oil. And unlike other products out there, Caliper is completely THC free. So you're getting the CBD benefits, but you're not getting high. All natural, non-GMO ingredients, no fillers, chemicals, artificial flavors, none of that. Caliper CBD, you got to try it. And here's what you're going to do. You're going to try it today. Why? Because you get 20% off your first order when you use promo code Alonzo at trycaliper.com/Alonzo. Okay, you can try Caliper CBD risk-free for 30 days. That's Caliper CBD risk-free for 30 days. If you don't love it, they give you a full refund. So try it. That's trycaliper.com/Alonzo. Don't forget promo code Alonzo. It gets you 20% off your first order. Now, let us get into the podcast. Man, what a week. I don't know. You get the good, you get the bad, you get the dumb, you get the insane, you get the happy. I honestly, I don't know where to go. So you know what? I'm going to start with some good news. That's right. I'm going to start with some good, because I told you guys that this is something I was going to try to do more of this year, the good news. Joe Biden gave a speech on Tuesday. I don't know if you heard it. Now, Joe Biden has been working with the executive orders. There's a great meme that shows Joe Biden sitting at his desk with different stacks of papers. I got to unfuck this. I got to unfuck that. I got to unfuck. He's doing it. So we're back into the Paris Accord for climate change. Ted Cruz thought that was just for the city of Paris. I think somebody whispered in his ear, and we're back in the World Health Organization, and we've heard about scientists being involved in COVID-19 now, et cetera, et cetera. But what I loved about this speech that Biden gave is Biden spoke directly. Now, as we all know, politicians don't like to say anything they can be held to. Therefore, they talk a lot without saying anything. But he said some things in there that it was great to hear someone talk about directly. He talked about George Floyd by name. He said his name. He acknowledged a problem with systematic racism in this country. He spoke out against for-profit private prisons and how we're going to stop using those. He acknowledged voters' rights and the abuses of the changes in the Voters' Rights Acts, and what he's going to do about that. He talked about education starting young and for everybody, and loans and economic opportunity. And when I say for everybody, he specifically talked about various minority and immigrant groups, whether they be Black, Latin, Asian, Native American, etc., etc. He talked about, and this is a Kennedy thing, and he brought it up, and it's true. A rising tide raises all ships. if everyone's doing better, then the whole country's doing better. He talked about that. I'm going to get into this inclusion and reaching across the aisle because my problem with it is that the Republicans are not genuine. McConnell still wants to filibuster so he can be the no, 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 stop everything, stop this and that. The Republicans refuse to censure, rein in, or talk to their crazy. But I'm going to get to that in a minute. But for right now, just hearing Joe Biden talk about these things and sign executive orders to talk about Asians and Asians being discriminated against because the idiot Trump was talking about the China virus. All of those dog whistles and codes, just trying to wipe those out. Now, the executive orders are not perfect. It's not all going to happen. And he talked about it's not going to happen overnight. But we are acknowledging. The first step to fixing it is acknowledging it. And I loved hearing him acknowledge these things by name and talk specifically about it. Now, if you're one of those people that when we say that America has systematic racism, you're going to start screaming, America's not a racist country, blah, blah, blah. Well, then you wouldn't be listening to my podcast. You know what he meant. Intelligent people knows what he means. Unfortunately, that we still have Fox News and we still have Marjorie Taylor Greene and so on. So I'll start with Tucker Carlson, of course, came out right after that. It's such a weird thing. He wants Biden to explain white supremacists and being anti-white. What? If you're confused as to what a white supremacist is, or how can you say, I'm not racist, but don't insult white supremacy? What the hell does that? What? That makes no sense at all. I'm not a criminal, but let's go easy on those car thieves because, I need to drive and I can't afford a car. That's what he's saying. So, not even worth arguing with. And yet we have to because that's an actual voice. But when we talk about Republicans and we talk about the voices that they might need to work on, how they say you got to clean up your own backyard. Before you start talking about my yard, you might want to just cut your own grass. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Okay, now this woman was elected, which means in her district, and I don't know how that district was drawn. We know a lot of these districts have strange shapes, but they elected her and they sent her to Congress. And now they're doing a little background. You think you do that before the election, but they're like, you know what? Let's take a look at some of these things. There was a huge California wildfire in 2018. It was called the Camp Fire. Burned thousands and thousands of acres. And you are listening and you're like, wow, a forest fire. Was it natural, like a lightning strike, or maybe somebody was, announcing their baby again or something? No. Marjorie Taylor Greene said that, besides saying that the Parkland school shooting was staged, okay, that's one thing. But just on this forest fire, she said it was caused by a laser beam from outer space. Yeah, in her post to her Facebook page, she said there were too many coincidences to ignore. Oddly, there are all these people who have said that they saw what looked like lasers or blue beams of light causing the fires. And for some reason, a vice chairman at Rothschild, they like using Rothschild in crazy. I don't know what it is about Rothschild, but they like using that name, that they started the fire. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Laser beams from outer space. And if it was just that would be okay, because that kind of crazy is just funny. But this woman has also, again, in going through her old Facebook posts, there was talk about, she liked a comment about a bullet to the head of Nancy Pelosi. She also responded to, there was a question about a desire to hang Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton, and She wrote, "The stage is being set, players are being put in place. We must be patient." She's a QAnon and all of that stuff. I don't think she's dangerous because she doesn't have any power other than she gives a voice to the extreme, violent, insane right wing. And of course, she denies it and says, "Oh, there were people who worked on my Facebook page and I didn't know," and blah, blah, blah. Listen, if you're a Republican and you're okay with this, you're part of the problem. Okay? You're plain and simple. You are part of the problem. Ted Cruz is garbage, but she's worse because as we saw from the Capitol uprising, and now we're finding out how many Republican Congress people gave tours of the Capitol building to the attackers the day before the attack. But she's dangerous because she appeals to the most dangerous members of the Republican Party. Okay, so for the Republicans in Congress to not say, "Psst, Marjorie, shut the hell up." That's all. How about a shut the hell up? How about a come over here? How about nothing? They're looking at it just like they did with all of Trump's racism and hate and ignorance, with a wink and a nod. That's all. It's horrible. We're doing better. Biden has a high approval rate, and we're doing better. But Marjorie Taylor Greene still exists. Make no mistake. Ted Cruz still exists. AOC put Ted Cruz in his place when he tried to. Ted Cruz, you talk about someone who tries to work both sides of the fence and talking out the side of his mouth. He tried to back AOC on something she said, and she was like, "Not so fast. Last week you were backing people who wanted to kill me." So once again, good on AOC for calling him out. Okay, so that's the dangerous crazy. Now, oh, another one that I'll put this in the category of the dangerous crazy. The state of Oregon, the Republican, I guess the Oregon Republican Party. Okay, so the Oregon Republican Party issued a formal condemnation of the 10 Republicans who voted in favor of impeaching Donald Trump. Now, this is what they say against the 10 Republican Congress people who voted to impeach Donald Trump. Whereas, I love that they put whereas in, to make us sound intelligent. What should we put in a per se? Nah, let's use a whereas. All right, whereas. So this is what they wrote. This is their proclamation. Whereas history tells us that after George Washington appointed Major General Benedict Arnold to command West Point, Arnold conspired to surrender the fort to the British. Whereas the 10 Republican House members, by voting to impeach President Trump, repeated history by conspiring to surrender our nation to a leftist forces seeking to establish a dictatorship void of all cherished freedoms and liberties. So what they're saying is that the Democrats are the ignoring the Constitution. After they ignore a legal vote, a legal election that Joe Biden won by popular vote, by electoral vote, everything else, what they're saying is that it's that the Democrats are going for a dictatorship. So they're supporting Trump, who wants to ignore the election, and saying, yeah, that's dangerous because that's the Oregon Republican Party. That's the state. And make no mistake about Oregon, okay? Because when we talk about Oregon, and I've been up there a lot, and I love Portland. Portland's a great city, but that's the Oregon you hear about. You hear about Portland. Let me tell you something. Eastern Oregon is white supremacist, crazy ass, militia, racist territory. Make no mistake about it. And I'm guessing it must be a large enough population of the state to actually have this as the official voice of state Republicans. So when you talk about reaching across the aisle, how do you talk to these people? How do you talk to them? That's my thing. Don't tell me that the Democrats should reach across the aisle, because you can't reach far enough. Why should you give credibility to utter ridiculousness? Okay, when they talk about leftists want to form a dictatorship, how? By holding a free and legal election? Son of a bitch. You mean they're not going to storm the Capitol and try to put an unelected person in power? No, they want to allow everyone to vote, including the blacks and the Latinos and the who knows what, just because they're American citizens. Some bitch. Tell you what, communist, some bitch. Remember Oregon's where that guy took over the antenna in a national park and held off the federal marshals for days. Now, so that's dangerous crazy. Now we're going to look at stupid crazy, and then we're going to look at just funny crazy, and then I'm going to throw in a little everyday crazy. Oklahoma's got problems. Oklahoma, I love this. Oklahoma is trying to return its $2 million stockpile of hydroxychloroquine. Hydroxychloroquine. You remember hydroxychloroquine when Trump said this will cure the virus? Somebody in Oklahoma said, we gonna corner the market. Let's buy it up. And now they have $2 million of it that they're trying to get rid of. Hard to sell that old on the open market. You just, So I wish you luck with that. A $2 million stockpile of hydroxychloroquine, and they want to return it. I think when you buy it, they're like, well, no returns on that. I love it. Good luck with that. Yeah, Oklahoma Attorney General Mike Hunter said that Hunter's office has been asked by the State Department of Health to help them offload the hydroxychloroquine stash. Yeah, good luck with that. Wow. It's so much stupid. And it's not easy, just day to day. You deal with things that shake you. I was talking to my friend today. I said, some days I'm just like, why do I leave the house? I went to UPS store to mail a letter. I had to send an overnight letter. It's a 2-page letter in an envelope. I gave it to the guy. I said, I need to put this in, one of those envelopes and send it overnight. He dropped it on the scale to weigh it. He wanted to weigh the letter before he would put it in an envelope and charge me rates like it was a package. I just shook my head. And I love that UPS store. It is a great store. It's my local one. They say support local business. I try. I took the letter to FedEx because it absolutely positively had to get there overnight, and they didn't ask me how much paper weighs. Then I had a check from Canada, and it was $200 is a deposit that somebody was sending me. And now this was a bank check from the Royal Bank of Canada, aka RBC. In Canada, it's a common bank. They're everywhere. RBC is one of their big banks. And it had my name on it. It was written in U.S. funds. And I took it to my credit union. I went to deposit it, and they said, this is from Canada. There'll be a 3-month hold on this check. 3 months. Now listen, I am lucky that I don't need the money right away. Okay, again, I'm not rich, but I didn't need the $200 right away, so I just deposited it anyway. And I'm not going to argue with the teller because obviously this is some policy. 3 months. I don't know when it took 3 months to see if a Canadian check was good, but I will tell you this, that I live in northern LA County, and I could walk to Vancouver, cash that check, and walk back in 3 months. Okay? This is when I tell you stupid don't get tired, this is the kind of thing I'm talking about. You think somebody be like, you know what? We're not using the telegraph and carrier pigeons anymore. I bet we could clear a Canadian check from the exotic land of Canada in less than 3 months. But no, you can't. You know why? Because stupid ain't taking a rest. Now, here's one, and a lot of you follow me, Zofunny on Instagram, ZOFUNNY, at Alonzo Bodden on Twitter. I posted this because this is just absolutely beautiful. This is what science is up against, all right? I have a friend. She is a scientist for the American Red Cross. She does blood work. They do studies, whether it be individual cases or mass. Type of people that work with this, scientists, okay? Vaccinations, that's science. But you're like, we got to get the people to take the vaccine. Well, here's why you can't. I'm going to read this post. This post came from Facebook. Names have been blacked out to protect people because I don't believe in trashing people because they post something ridiculous. Like, I don't want to put it out and have, thousands of people send them messages or make fun of it. I just want you to be aware that this is out there. So I'm reading it now. I've heard 3 accounts now on the radio that healers cannot reach those who have had the vaccine. These are world-renowned healers with decades of experience and thousands of clients who they've helped. What they're saying is that when they try to heal these people, meaning people who've had the vaccine, they cannot get through their bodies, and this has never happened before with anyone. Thoughts? Well, of course someone's going to respond. And the response? It's been widely said that this vaccine removes the God gene or the human factor soul of a person taking it, if what you say is correct. And let's reply, if what you say is correct, the shot changes your DNA significantly. It goes from human to transhuman. Basically, it's like having robot blood. It will be programmable. Well, yeah, that's exactly what the vaccine is going to do. It's going to give us programmable robot blood, because why wouldn't it? I mean, Bill Gates is a very smart person, and they told us a while ago that Bill planned on controlling us with this vaccine. So there you go. I guess maybe it's a good thing that people of color aren't getting the vaccine as fast as white people, and the healthcare workers in Black and Latino areas aren't getting treated as fast as those in white areas, because, hey, who wants that robot blood in them? So, yeah, that's what we're up against on that one. They're shooting us up with robot blood. I mean, you can't make this up. Now, people say, oh, there's just a few people. Well, think about it. Think about the numbers. If that's 5% of the Trumpers, that's 3.7 million people, right? If 74 million people voted for Trump, 10% of that would be, if 74 million, 10% would be 7.4 million. Divide that by 2, you get 5%. That's 3.7 million. Hell, let's cut that in half. We'd still have, what would you still have? 3.7, you'd still have 17.5 million, right? 17, yeah. I'm sorry, 1.75 million. That's still far too many people. You know what I'm saying? That's, we're in trouble. Millions of people. How about that? Forget about math. Let's just say millions of people. There's got to be well over 1 million people that believe that. That's what we're up against. Good luck. Good luck. All right. We're going to move on to the good news. Have you heard about this GameStop thing? This is just fantastic. So, for anyone who doesn't know, GameStop is a store. They're in the mall. They sold video games and all of that fantasy stuff, the figurines and collectibles and, all of that kind of stuff that people are into. You've seen them in the mall. They red and white sign, GameStop. You know what I'm talking about. So GameStop was having a rough time. Obviously, malls are closing. People are doing more things online, this and that. So some of the hedge funds are pretty much the worst people in the world. These are the people who make billions of dollars gambling in the stock market. They control billions of dollars for other people and they add nothing to the economy. They don't build anything or grow anything. They gamble on the market. So they bought short on GameStop. The idea being, I'm gonna take this stock at a short price, and I have to give you the stock on such and such a day, and I'm betting that by that day the price will be less. So if I owe you 1,000 shares and those shares are $7 today, I'm betting that a week from today, when I actually have to give them to you, they're only going to be $5, and then I've made money because I got them at 7, sold them. I actually replaced them with $5 ones, right? So that's how you make money doing it. But it's you're also gambling that this business is going to do terrible. They're going to go out of business. You're not doing anything to help the business. You're betting against it. So Reddit just got a hold of this, and a bunch of people on Reddit just started pushing up the price of this stock. GameStop stock has gone up more than 1,700%. They've been buying this stock. This stock started out at, I'm looking in the article, I'm trying to find the numbers. I think it was under $20, and now it's at like 300 and some odd dollars. That's how much they pushed it up. And they did it just so these hedge fund people would lose a fortune. Yeah. Steve Cohen and Dan Sunheim lose big to the GameStop short squeeze frenzy. It doesn't even matter. They've they've lost a fortune. And this is good. You know why? Because this is the part of the market that's the worst. So these hedge fund people, they know things we don't know. They're investing enough to move markets and so on and so forth. So good for them. Okay, so it started at $19 in January. It's up to $350. And even though it's losing money, people invested because these hedge fund people are scum. And then people got together on Reddit, the individual private investors, day traders and so on and so forth. And it's been a beautiful thing. So I don't know. Now ain't the time. I don't think now's the time to get into GameStop. And I don't know how GameStop's going to do. It's a brick and mortar store. It may not make it. But what they did was basically send a message to these hedge fund people to stop doing this. Stop being... Money's great. Money's great. Okay, I'm not saying money's bad. I'm not saying you're bad for making money. But why do you have to make money at the literally direct expense of other people? You know what I mean? Like, why do you have to gamble? Why do you have to profit on their loss? And these people don't give a shit about people at GameStop losing their jobs or any. They don't give a shit. They just, I got to make another $150 million this year. Why? You buying something? No, I just want to tell the guy who made $140 million I'm better than him. My brother used to work with these guys. He used to do computer and tech for these guys. And trust me, that is all it is. All it is tremendous egos feeding. They feed, like, that's the competition. Oh, you made $1 billion this year? I got to make 1.1 billion. Why? You buying another Bentley? You buying another Rolls Royce? No, I just want to say I made more than you. I don't care about 10,000 people being out of work. And God forbid the government give these people out of work $1,400, because now I got to give a few $1 million to the Republican Party to make sure these people don't get shit. That's who we're talking about. So, sympathy? I don't even know what that word means. I got nothing. These are the worst of people. These are the worst of people. And people talk about they're smart and they invest, and they used to call them the job creators. And oh yeah, the Republicans are still waiting for some of that money to trickle down. How's that working out for you? 5Gs are coming. 5Gs are coming. Verizon's been installing 5G antennas. They look like a box about the size of a freezer since 2019. And these boxes, known as ground fixtures, supply power and data to 5G antennas. But here's the thing. They don't have to ask permission. They have contracts with the city to put these things up. Okay, so they just put them up, and people are getting upset that they're putting a 5G antenna box with in front of their house. But you know what? You want 5G? That's how it works. They got to put them somewhere. So you may not like it, but that's how it goes. But of course, the crazies are like, see, they're taking over. But now we know it's not the 5G, it's the vaccine. We're on to them, right? So don't worry about the 5G box. Look out for the shot. Unless the 5G boxes are communicating with the robot blood. Son of a bitch, I figured it out. Oh, man. So what else? What else we have? Just random good news, just because I like hearing it. Massimo Giannulli, who one of the guys who went to jail for the USC scandal for paying money to get his kid into college. He said he should be released to home confinement because he already spent 8 weeks under extreme conditions in solitary confinement because of the COVID-19 pandemic. And the judge said, nah, you can stay. You can stay in jail. Judge said he failed to demonstrate an extraordinary and compelling reason warranting his release. Said the quarantine's been longer than he anticipated, but, so what? Now, he's married to Lori Loughlin. She got out. She only spent 2 months in jail. So he has to stay in jail longer. And you know what? He has to stay in jail longer. Oh, well. Money got your kid into college, and it got your ass in jail. Okay, I want to talk about a couple of sports things, and I don't know where to start, but I'm going to start with this because this is amazing and not surprising at the same time. Have you seen Nia Dennis? Nia Dennis is a gymnast at UCLA. She is an incredible gymnast. She is the latest in a long line of black gymnasts. Gabby Douglas, Simone Biles, the GOAT. Simone Biles, absolutely incredible. So Nia Dennis, she does her routines, and she does black routines, okay? I mean, just fantastic. She's crip walking and stepping in her routine. She is using music from Tupac and just everything. She is fantastic, okay? And people were posting it. It went viral. Hashtags Black Excellence. People are loving her. Black Woman Magic, and on and on and on. So, of course, they started, why does it have to be black excellent? What does skin color have to do with it? What if a white gymnast did this amazing routine? Let's leave race out of the gym. No, you're not. This is one more time. You can't leave race out of it because, first of all, she is a black woman. Let's acknowledge that. She's a black woman in a white sport. There are more and more black women excelling in this sport, but she is still in a white sport. And make no mistake, your dog whistle ain't working here. So as hurt as gymnastics is, okay, this woman is changing it. These black American women are changing it. One Italian woman said she'd score better in blackface. No, you wouldn't. You'd score better if you were able to do gymnastics like Nia Dennis or Simone Biles. Why, instead of working on that, Dominique Dawes, remember her? She was amazing. Betty Aquino, yeah. This, and now there's more and more coming. Okay, there was a great scene in the movie 42 where the manager, Leo DeRocher, and I forget the name of the actor who played the part, but Jackie Robinson was coming to the team, and a bunch of white players had this petition that they weren't going to play with Jackie. And the manager woke them up in the middle of the night, and he told them to take that petition and shove it up their ass because, like it or lump it, Jackie's coming. And he said, and it's not just him. He said, there's more coming, and they're hungry, and they're talented, and and that's what's going on. So kudos to Nia Dennis for bringing her culture into gymnastics and winning. She scored a 9.95 on this floor routine. It was amazing. It was amazing. Kudos to Simone Biles, who I saw at a Clipper game, who couldn't have been nicer, taking pictures with everyone, signing autographs, and all of that. Beautiful. Yeah, that's what they're doing, and they're and doing just phenomenal. So Italian gymnasts who think you could put on blackface and they still, they get bullying, they get quote jokes and all that racism. Yeah, but you know what? She hit the floor and she kicked your ass. So that's how, that divine blackness. I'm so happy for this woman. You know how hard that is to do? Not just to train, and it's the strength of gymnasts. I don't think anyone has a strength to weight ratio of a gymnast. The strength that they have with their ability to leap, jump, and do the physical things they do for their size is incredible. So besides training for all of that, you got to put up with all this anti-black shit. And they did. And they're winning. So good for them. I talked about this at the beginning. I'll talk about it at the end. Charles Barkley said Father Time is undefeated. Father Time's up against the ropes taking a beating from two people, Tom Brady and LeBron James. Tom Brady's taking his team. He's about to go to his 10th Super Bowl. The man's 43 years old. It's unbelievable. Listen, you know I can't stand the Patriots. I tell you, I'm from New York. I'm genetically opposed to rooting for any team from Boston. Genetically. Tom Brady is the man. The GOAT. Yeah, hard. How can you say he's not? I love Joe Montana, but how can you say that Tom Brady's not the GOAT? He's going to the Super Bowl again. He goes to the Super Bowl like most quarterbacks go to the bathroom. He's like, well, yeah, it's getting late in the season. Guess I'll go to the Super Bowl. Taking the Tampa Bay Bucks. Yeah, well, whatever team you put me on, I'll take. I think he's answered the question, was it Belichick or Brady? LeBron, don't poke the bear. When will they learn how great LeBron James is? LeBron James is, I believe, 36 years old. He's playing against Cleveland Cavaliers, his old team. He missed a shot at the end of the third quarter. One of the executives from the Cavaliers took a little too much pleasure in that. He was courtside or somewhere. He was within earshot of LeBron talking shit. You don't poke the bear. LeBron proceeded to score 26 points in the fourth quarter. 46 points for the game and destroyed Cleveland. LeBron James won, he should have been MVP last season, won another NBA championship last season. These two will not age. And you know what? I love it. Good for both of them, for the work it takes to maintain that level of excellence this long. Good for both of them. Fantastic. And finally, I'm going to end with a sad note that I was on the radio today with my friend George Wallace, one of the funniest people ever. I love George. And it came up, Cicely Tyson passed away today. So we lost two fantastic women this week. We lost Cloris Leachman, 94 years old, super funny. And I feel great that I got to see both of them. I got to see Cloris Leachman at a roast of Bob Saget, and she was hilarious. And I'm guessing at that time, she had to be around 80. And she was funny and dirty and hung with them and gave as good as she got from everyone on that roast. It was fantastic. I got to see Cicely Tyson in a play on Broadway with my mom. It was called The Gin Game, and it was her and James Earl Jones, and it was amazing. It was amazing. They played two older people and just going back and forth. And it was, again, just watching the mastery of the art of acting. Cicely Tyson, the arc of her life is beyond belief, beyond anything you can imagine. What an incredibly talented, classy, beautiful woman. 96 years old. I'm so happy both of them lived that long and had a full life. And they never stopped working. They never stopped creating in their entire lives. And I think that's beautiful. So thank you both. for what you've done and what you gave us. And God rest your souls. Be blessed and everything good. I'll talk to you guys next week. Yeah, well, and that's pretty much my summation of a week in the life of America. We're great and we're losing our minds. Oh, one last thing. And I read this. This was kind of cool because I have been on both sides. It said, are you nice or are you kind? And they said that New Yorkers are kind and Californians are nice. And what they mean is that a New Yorker will see you on the street, right? It's wintertime. And they're like, what the hell's wrong with you? Put on a coat. And then they'll give you their coat. That's New Yorker. That's being kind. And California will be like, oh, man, that's too bad you're out there. Cool. I'm going to let you cross ahead of me. But I ain't giving you a coat. And I kind of think that that's an extreme, but I think it's kind of true. Yeah, Californians, we're nice, but I don't know how kind and generous we are. And then New Yorkers are not nice. Now, I'll tell you, growing up in New York, I can tell you one thing about New Yorkers. New Yorkers are not nice. But you know what? New Yorkers are kind, and they'll help you out. So let's be kind. If you can't be nice, be kind. All right? Just try that. Thank you. Thanks for listening. Who's paying attention? You are. You people are the best.